Hey everybody, this is Stacie with Gymnastics Mindset Academy, and I am back here with Leah Clapper. And for us, we're recording this in December. So it's been a week, but for you, you guys get to hear it back to back. So last week we were coaching on getting the shaposh,
Yeah.
having an opportunity to potentially be an option for lineup. And the thing that you wanted to do was catch your shaposh. And we were like, we'll start working on it next week. So update us. How has that gone?
Well, the big news, I caught my shaposh for the first time. It was a great week. It was a huge win, and I'm so pumped about it. I really feel like I was able to take what we talked about last week about I'm not scared of the actual things that could go wrong within the skill, but I'm scared of the feelings that I get when things go wrong, and just having more awareness over that in addition to trying to cultivate some motivation and some excitement around it and thinking about what would happen when I do catch it. How am I going to feel when I do catch it? And I was like, wow, I'll be so proud. And I wanted that. And we had an inter squad one day, and my shaposhes were going really well with a little bit of a boost. And I said, let me try it by myself again today. And the first one sent it all the way to the high bar, caught it, started screaming excitement. And I'm just really, really proud of that and excited to see where it goes next, because now I feel so much more confident that I got over that hurdle of self-doubt,
Yeah.
that I don't know if I'm actually capable of doing this, and the point where you're about to give up and
Yeah.
feeling like maybe I should just change my routine. Maybe this isn't going to work out for me. That's kind of where I was getting to
Yeah.
the point of last week. And after our conversation, I felt a little bit more re-energized. And now that I've caught it, it's like, wow, all of that just went out the window. And I was so close, but it can feel so far when you're just getting over that last hurdle. But now I'm like, wow, I can do it. I just proved to myself that I can. And now it's a matter of getting it consistent and feeling capable and confident every time that I get up on the bar to do the skill.
I love it. We talk a lot about something that we call the river of misery. And so the river of misery is the point when you start trying to do it to the point where you're really confident in it.
Yeah.
And so often you're swimming, and it's hard and it's cold and and you're so close to the shore and you're like, it's just, I'm never going to get there. And so then you give up. And you were right there. You were so close. So I love the picture that you gave of no, if I just I was so close to giving up, but just continuing to go.
I just needed like 2 more practices and boom,
Yeah.
now I can do it.
Well, and what you really needed was the mindset shift, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When you believe that you're afraid of the skill doesn't change, so therefore you can't get over the fear,
How interesting.
right? So you're
Yeah.
like, I have to make the skill change in order to not be afraid anymore. In
You
fact,
know,
you even sometimes are like, well, if I change the skill,
that's super relevant for me on beam actually as well, because for years I felt like I'm scared of my series. I was training in back handspring layout for many years. I've been competing it for the past 6 years maybe, and I've finally gotten to a point where it doesn't freak me out every time that I go up to do it. But for the first couple years of training it, I thought I was scared of the connection. But honestly, what I was scared about was the feeling of uncertainty that came with it, that I didn't know if my first one was going to be on, if it was going to be straight and capable of doing another layout out of it. So that is what actually scared me. And what I was scared of doing was balking, because balking made me freak out, and I felt out of control, and I hated that when I was in control of it. And so when you said that I wasn't actually afraid of the skill, that clicks in my mind. Well, I
yeah.
wasn't afraid of the layout. I was afraid of myself balking in the middle of it and getting that feeling of like my heart jumping in my chest And then that uncertainty of, oh, can I do it next time? And all the fear that would just cycle and cycle in my mind. I didn't go for the last one. Can I go for this one? Can I do it? What's happening? I have to go. I must do it. My coach is watching me. I have 3 more. And it's just a flood of 500 million thoughts that just add a lot of anxiety. But it had nothing to do with the actual act of doing the skill. That's crazy to me.
Isn't it crazy? Yeah. Well, and it's so when it comes back to it, what you're actually afraid of is the thoughts you have about it,
Yeah.
not the skill. And then when you're able to do that, then that gives you such a sense of power, right? Like, oh, I can do something about the thoughts I have about it. I just couldn't do anything about changing the skill.
But it's possible.
It's hard. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But for you, this one wasn't a lot of work. It actually happened pretty quickly.
I guess so.
Right?
I'm ready for some more aha moments. I know last time we chatted about it's the feelings and the emotions that are associated with a skill that can actually cause the fear. And instead of focusing on those emotions, we wanted to try to cultivate other ones that are more positive and beneficial to success in the routine. So what can we do?
So I got some bad news for you, Leah.
Bad news?
Before we get there,
okay.
We first have to learn how to feel the negative ones.
So
this is what happens.
Excited about the positive ones.
I know. This is what happens, though, is gymnasts are taught that they shouldn't allow themselves to feel the negative emotions. Fear, anger, frustration. Brush it off. Brush it off. Refocus, right? So here's what you try to do. So for those of you, this is podcast, you can't see me. I'm putting my hands together. So on one side, you're like, okay, I'm only going to feel negative emotions. Imagine like a halfway point. I'm only going to feel like just this tiny little bit of negative emotions along a line. Well, the problem is when you try to turn off all the rest of the negative emotions, 2 things happen. 1, if you get good at it, which some people do, you also turn off the exact opposite positive emotions. You get to a point where you can really only experience, we talk about gymnasts being robots, because you get to this point where you can't experience the positive either. And so your experiencing of the human life is like this tiny little bit of the whole spectrum of emotions that you can feel. So you want to learn how to feel the negative ones so that you can also feel the positive ones. Because I'm going to review. So from last week, we talked about what an emotion is a vibration that's happening in our body because our brain is sending signals through chemical hormonal cocktail down into our body, preparing us. Sorry, let me mute. Amazon's delivering a lot of packages right now.
Too funny.
So it's sending this chemical hormonal concoction down into our body, preparing us to take action. And we experience that vibration in our body, and we give language to it by labeling it as an emotion. So we have emojis because most of us tend to experience a similar emotion in similar ways. Like you think about the embarrassment emoji, and it's like rosy cheeks. When you feel embarrassed, you kind of feel like heat flooding your face.
Yeah.
Right? And then like the mad one is like the steam out of the ears because you kind of do. You feel like your head's about to explode and like all this heat is radiating out of your face. But we actually feel emotions with a physical sensation in our body.
Totally.
And when we focus on the physical sensation, we actually allow the emotion to just process through. So I'm going to teach you the process to do that. And I want to call our eye back to the prize. When we learn how to experience our negative emotions, 2 things happen. The first is that it allows us to experience our positive emotions. And when we can experience our positive emotions, then those fuel the actions we want to be taking. Motivated, confident, determined, excited, right? Those fuel all the ways that we want to be taking action from.
Yes.
The second part is when we don't allow ourselves to experience our negative emotions, it's like holding a beach ball. So I want you to imagine you're standing in a body of water and you're holding a beach ball and you're trying to push it down. It's not that much work to push it down, right? You can
Mm-mm.
like push it and push it and push it. But eventually you get tired and what happens?
It just starts popping back up and
It,
explodes out of the water.
it explodes and it's intense, right? So that's what happens is we stuff our negative emotion down, we stuff it, we stuff it, we stuff it, and eventually we run out of willpower to hold it down. And so then it pops back up and our experience of it is so much more intense than the just if we would have just let the emotion be there.
Absolutely.
So we're afraid, we're afraid, we're afraid. We stuff it down, we stuff it down, and it like pops back up in this huge mental block that's this like, I'm terrified of this skill. Versus when we just allow, my goodness, I don't know how to turn these off. When we just allow the emotion to be there without a problem, then we can just let it be there. Can you imagine the difference between just like letting the beach ball just float in front of you?
So much more calm.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a pain. It's in your way. You can't see things you want to see. It's not ideal to have the beach ball there, but it's not a big deal, right?
Right.
So, for gymnasts, when you experience a negative emotion, or for anybody, when you experience a negative emotion, it's a vibration that happens in your body. And when we learn to tune into the physicality of the vibration and allow it to actually just vibrate through our body, it's uncomfortable.
A little bit.
But like I do this with adults in every sphere, but I'm like, you're gymnasts. You do uncomfortable things
Every day.
every day, all the time. Like it's not nearly as uncomfortable as swinging bars with rips.
Oh man. That's
Right?
not fun.
Yeah. But can you imagine the discomfort you feel like when you're doing like a oversplit?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel great, but you also don't make it mean that anything's going wrong.
True.
You're just like, in fact, it means a good thing. I'm getting more flexible.
Getting more flexible, getting stronger, and I know it will be over soon when I come out of this split,
Yeah.
and I might experience it again tomorrow when we go back to practice, but I'm gonna live through it and be okay.
Yeah. And you just breathe into it, right? Have you
Yeah,
ever done that? Like when you breathe into the muscle, it actually then is a little less uncomfortable.
right.
You just kind of relax.
Starts to settle in for
Yeah.
sure.
And then the same thing holding a hollow hold, right? Or another ab holding position. Your stomach starts burning. It's kind of this tight feeling in your stomach, but you don't ever make that mean that anything's going wrong. And you just hold it and you just let it be uncomfortable and you keep holding it.
And you feel so much better when it's gone.
Yeah.
And you're so proud of yourself when you come out of that hollow hold and you held it for so long. And it makes me think of continuing on with the metaphor. Like sometimes during season, I think I stuff down a lot of emotions. And I honestly start to feel numb because there's just a roller coaster of emotions every Friday night. And if you lean into it all, it's just exhausting.
Yes.
And then stuffing things down week in, week out, trying to get through the next meet, whatever it is, eventually there's a point where you just are feeling numb or having a total mental breakdown.
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like
that's what I was saying that like when you do get good at turning off all the negative ones, you also turn off all the positive ones. And so you end up being this very tiny little portion of feeling, which basically feels numb.
and then when good things happen, it's less exciting. But when after I totally have an emotional breakdown at some point, some day that I just finally cry for half an hour and
Yes. It pops
get
back up, right?
over
This is when it pops
yeah,
up. Yes.
popping up. I get over what has been bothering me and I figure out how I might want to move forward, I feel like it's always so much sweeter when I do good at the meet the next weekend,
Yeah.
and that feeling of accomplishment after I had been struggling and I overcame something difficult, it's so much more rewarding
Yeah.
and amazing feeling, honestly. So I
Yeah.
can definitely see how the pushing emotions, it's not helping you in the long run.
Yeah.
It's just making you feel uptight and not that good. And then being able to experience everything to its fullest
Yeah.
can end up in really amazing outcomes for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And when you allow yourself to feel the vibrations of a negative emotion, it is much less intense than the experience that you have of it when it like pops back up. And so that's a lot of people are afraid of allowing themselves to experience the negative emotion because they're afraid it's going to overtake them.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't overtake you when you just let it be there. So, I'm going to teach you how.
Awesome. And I do have a question which I
Yeah.
hope goes into your answer.
Okay.
During practice, say I start feeling scared or worried or tentative about something or another bad emotion, whatever it is.
Yep.
But maybe it's not that intense. I'm not about to break down in tears,
Yeah.
but I'm not feeling totally comfortable.
Yeah.
And what is a way that I can communicate that to my teammates or my coaches while
Yeah.
moving forward without making it feel like I'm, you know, not giving it my all or not
Yeah.
my best? If I'm telling my coach that I'm nervous for something, I'm scared of the way that maybe I'm gonna move forward from that, or they're gonna be like, "Why are you nervous? Are you not confident to be in the lineup?" But, like, it's okay to feel those things,
Yeah.
and, of course, every coaching scenario is a different situation, but I feel like I've gotten to a healthy place with my amazing coaches that it's like, "Today, I'm feeling a little bit this way," but that was not always the case, and
Yeah.
now that I'm in college, I understand myself a lot better and can communicate those things, but it took me a while to figure that out, and I still think there's a ways that I can go
Yeah.
of, feeling those emotions, but not letting it wreck my practice
Yes.
or, like, worry
So
my
I am so glad you brought this up because I forgot to say it. And this is a really important thing. Because most of us don't know how to actually feel our emotions, our understanding of what it means to feel an emotion is to react to the emotion.
Yeah.
So we have three things that we normally do with emotions. The first thing is we react to them. So we literally take action from them. The
Mhm.
second thing is that we run away from them. This is when we try to like do something that will bring a bunch of dopamine to feel good, like go eat ice cream or do a bunch of social media or veg on TV, or we do something to try to feel better and numb out the negative emotion.
Or in the context of practice, maybe that's going to another event, jumping on the trampoline,
Chalk bucket,
avoiding all the chalk, bathroom,
chalk
fixing
and
my hair
bathroom.
10 times in a row.
I just need a little more chalk, avoiding the emotion.
Yeah.
The third thing that we do is we resist it. And that's the when we like push it down and try to say that it's not there. So, this art that I'm going to teach you of actually feeling your emotions doesn't mean you have to react to it. And in fact, when you allow yourself to feel it, then you are much less likely to take action from it. So, let's say you are feeling nervous. When you do this process of allowing the nervousness to be there, you might not need to even say anything to anybody else. Or if you do, you're not saying it from nervous, you're saying it from something else. Maybe the emotion that you're saying it from is, you wanna feel authentic. Maybe you wanna feel, like camaraderie. Maybe
Yeah.
you want to feel supporting. And so
Mhm.
then you like share it, but you're sharing it from a different emotion. So
Yeah.
it's not like reacting to it. Does that make because a lot of times people think, oh, well, if I'm going to feel an emotion, like I have to cry or I have to be like angry. Like if I'm angry, I have to like yell, or if I'm sad, I have to cry. And feeling an emotion doesn't have to have any outward experience. It's all inside.
Interesting. And then you can deal with it on your own and move forward and
Or you
not
can
just
deal with
something.
it with other people, but it's not you're choosing to do so versus it kind of like coming out unwanted.
Right. Okay.
Makes sense?
Let's go through the
Okay.
process.
All right. So I'm going to start with the first part, which we just call allowing an emotion. And we use this a lot for fear because here's the thing. So we have a process where you process through the emotion all the way completely, but fear is a tricky one because as long as the thing that's making you scared is still present, it just comes right back. So going through the whole thing of like trying to process it all the way through kind of doesn't get you anywhere because it just comes right back. So when you're dealing with fear and dealing with fear for a skill, what we're working on is learning how to allow it to be there in the same way you allow that uncomfortable burn in your hollow hold or that stretch. You just allow it to be there, but you don't make it mean anything's going wrong.
Ah, that
So
sounds key.
you were afraid on your shaposh. And then initially you said like your brain had offered to you, I'm afraid of um peeling and I'm afraid of like my feet going off and like kind of ripping my shoulders out,
Yeah.
right? So these were the things that your brain told you that you were afraid of. So I want you to imagine you're about to go for your shaposh and you're feeling like, what if I peel? And so you're
Mhm.
feeling that fear. And the first step is you just are going to face, we call it the 4F. So the first F is you face the feeling. Right now, I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling afraid because my brain's job is to keep me safe and it thinks I'm in danger.
Mhm.
And then you honestly evaluate, are you in danger? Like sometimes you're trying to do a skill you shouldn't be doing and you are in danger, but like for your shaposh, are you in danger?
Not unreasonably so. I have mats and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that's what we did last week. We went through kinda all of the what ifs around it, right?
yes.
Yeah. So, I'm not in danger. So we tell our brain this. Right now I'm feeling afraid, and I'm feeling afraid because my brain thinks I'm in danger, but I'm not in danger, and that's okay. We, like, accept the feeling of being there.
Yes.
So, I want you to do this. I want you to imagine you're
I'm
going
imagining.
to do, your shaposh all by yourself right now. Nobody's gonna spot you. There aren't any extra crash mats. You're feeling a little afraid. Can you tell me what that feeling feels like physically in your body? Where do you feel it at?
I think I'm tense up in my shoulder traps area.
Okay. And then
And
go ahead.
something a little bit of butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah. And because you've already caught your shaposh, it's not scary anymore. So butterflies are usually like, I'm a little nervous. And when we're all out scared for a skill, it usually feels like a rock in our stomach, right? Like a really heavy, tight feeling. But for you right now, it's butterflies. If you had to give it a color, what color would you give it?
Blue.
And is it moving or is it still?
Still.
And is it heavy or is it light?
Definitely heavy.
Okay. So all I want you to do is close your eyes and I want you to tell yourself this is what fear feels like. It's this
This is
heavy, blue, still feeling tightness in my stomach.
got it.
And just focus in on it and let it be there. And now take a deep breath and just breathe into it and then open your eyes. Could you move forward with that heavy feeling in your stomach?
Yeah.
It's not uncomfortable. It's not comfortable, but it's not a big deal, right?
I could do
Same
my
way you hold your hollow hold, you could like go do your shapash even though the feeling is there.
yes.
So that's the first step, is just allowing the feeling to be there without a problem and focusing on how it feels physically in your body. We like to give it a color. We like to decide, is it heavy or is it light? Is it moving faster? Is it slow? Like any kind of thing, like sometimes you could do shapes, like any kind of thing where you are describing it physically and you're changing it from this like mental thing into just like, how is your body experiencing it?
Totally.
And then we decide it gets to be a passenger, gets to go along. I'm going to drive the car, but it gets to come with me. It's okay that it's there. It doesn't need to go away. It's not a problem. I can do my shapash with this heavy, blue, tight feeling in my stomach.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit is
Yeah.
thinking of those characters in Inside Out.
Yes.
There's a little fear guy in my mind, and it can be there hanging out,
Yeah.
doing its thing while I'm doing my skills.
He gets to go with you. It's not a problem. You can just let him come on, right? Yeah. So then we like to take it another step where we actually let it process through our body. And this is easier on other emotions like anger, frustration, nervousness, those kinds of things. So we call it now. So the first two steps are the same. I just use different words. So the first step is noticing and naming the emotion. So I did that. I said, I'm feeling fear. So I notice that I'm feeling angry. I
Yeah.
notice that I'm feeling terrified. I notice that I'm feeling nervous. I notice that I'm feeling frustrated. So naming the emotion. The second is observing how it feels physically in your body. And so that's what we did. And the third is you just breathe into it and watch it for as long as it takes until it dissipates.
Okay. Notice, observe, watch.
So we're just going to add watch. So I know you've talked a lot about being nervous for competition. Do you think that nervous is the name of the feeling? Is it anxious? Is it like, what's the name you would give the feeling for going into competition?
I like to name it excitement because I know that nerves and excitement, those feel the same in my body. Like I get the same butterfly feeling in my stomach, and I almost want to like do a little shimmy, like I don't know. I just feel like
That is
a
a
little
hack that
energy
we
going
teach.
through my body.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm also excited. So it's a mixture of both. I think a lot of the parts that are contributing to the nervousness that I feel is from uncertainty because I'm the type of
That's
person that likes
important.
to know what's going to happen. And if I only knew that if I could see the future and I knew I was going to make my beam routine and nail my floor routine and feel great after the meet, not sore, not hurting, not tired, happy with my performance, 10 out of 10 night. If I knew that going in, all of that feeling would go away. And honestly, if that was the case, now that I'm thinking about it, that would take away the fun of competing because that's the whole point. But
Well, what if you knew you were going to like fall and bomb?
then I think I would be prepared for the disappointment, I guess, but that doesn't sound very fun. It sounds like a dreadful day
Yeah.
going up to the meet knowing that it's going to go badly.
Let
But
me
that
ask you this.
uncertainty,
If you were prepared for the disappointment, do you really think you would be less disappointed?
yeah, I do think that, but I think it's because I just would have experienced it earlier, not
Yes. It's
later.
not that you experience less disappointment, you just experience it ahead of time.
True.
You experience the same amount of disappointment. So here's one of the things that happen. This is a whole different lesson. We'll go over this more next month. But
That's good.
one thing, total hack, telling your brain that is excited when it's nervous, because your brain then goes, oh, that's what those butterflies are. Okay, we're fine.
Yeah.
So that's a great hack. But let's okay.
On that note,
we'll get more into the other stuff. I want to do uncertain, because
okay.
you do not like that emotion. So learning to process the emotion of uncertain, that's perfect for you.
It's a constant across my whole
Yes.
life. It's not just gymnastics. It's everything.
And let's remember to like let's unpack that more in the future, like why uncertain is bad. But right now, I just want you to learn to tolerate the emotion in your body. Okay, so we're going to close our eyes. And I want you to think of a situation where you have very recently felt uncertain.
Okay.
I want you to bring it to mind very vividly.
Got it.
Now, I want you to scan your body, and we're just going to open up to it, and I want you to name it. I am feeling uncertain.
I'm feeling uncertain.
And now I want you to tell me, where in your body do you feel uncertain?
I think it's a little bit everywhere. I feel just a bit tense.
Okay. Let's just open up to it a little bit more. I like to lift my chin and open my shoulders. Take a deep breath.
My shoulders are definitely going all the way up to my ears again. Need to relax them.
Scan your body. Where do you feel uncertain the most physically?
I don't know if I have a good answer to that. It feels like evenly distributed throughout my body. Of
Check
just
out how it feels in your back of your neck.
Uh-huh.
And then check out how it feels in your chest. Think of the specific situation.
I'm standing really tall or sitting really tall with my neck pulled back and my chest up. Like I'm about to salute, honestly, because that's what I'm imagining.
Check out how it feels in your stomach.
A little bit butterfly-y, similar
A
to
little
the
bit of butterflies in your stomach. What does it feel like in your chest?
tight,
Yeah.
very rock solid.
Yeah. I've found for me, uncertainty usually is the heaviest in my chest. A little bit in my stomach. Feels a little bit like I want to throw up. Rock solid in my chest. So what color would you give it?
This one is a greenish red, which doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of a mixture of green and red, swirled brown.
So we've got this greenish red color in our chest. Is it heavy or is it light?
This one is medium.
Okay. Is it moving or is it still?
Moving in a swirling pattern.
Okay. Fast or slow?
Well, it depends relative to what, but
To this
relatively
specific situation you were thinking of.
relatively slow.
Okay. So I want you to focus all of your attention, every bit of your brain power. I want you to focus it on this swirling greenish red, tight feeling in your chest. And breathe into it. And what's it doing now?
Started swirling the other direction.
Okay. So it started swirling the other way. Is it still in your chest? Is it moving anywhere? We're just going to watch it. We're just witnessing what it does.
I'm visualizing it in my chest still.
Okay. Let's not even visualize it. Let's just see it in your body. Look your eyes inside and see it in your body. I want you to make it swirl faster. Make it tighter.
Okay.
And then now let it just go back to where it was. And just keep breathing into it. Keep watching it. What is it doing now?
Dissipating.
Okay. Is it moving to any other part of your body? Your throat, your stomach, your shoulders?
Well, now that you said that, a little bit my shoulders,
Okay.
but I also got a bit distracted because I got really thirsty.
Yeah.
So I lost it a little.
So keep focusing. Actually, focus. I've noticed a lot. It goes to my throat. That thirst might have been the physical vibration of it moving into your throat. So just focus on your throat and your shoulders. Just watch it. And what's it doing now?
Similar.
Okay.
Still swirling in the different areas, also to my head.
Yeah. Keep breathing into it. Keep watching it.
I think I totally lost the feeling of uncertainty. I think I'm just visualizing green brown swirls in my body.
And this is where I said, let's not visualize it. Let's actually look.
Yeah, it's
Because I think what happened for you is it did dissipate. It left.
Yeah.
But then your brain was like, wait, what's there? So then you were trying to see it, but it was gone.
Yeah, I haven't ever done anything like that before, so
Isn't it crazy?
it's interesting. Yeah.
How was it? Was it really uncomfortable to feel the feeling?
No,
Yeah. It's not that
I
big of a deal, huh?
felt used to it, felt familiar. Like, I
Yeah.
feel that same feeling every time that I'm about to go salute for a routine, which is the situation that I was visualizing, that I was
Yeah.
about to compete.
Yeah.
There's a lot of uncertainty associated with that for me.
And when it's a really negative emotion, like when you're really angry and you do this process, you often feel like you want to crawl out of your skin or you want to throw up, or where you're really scared or you're really sad. Like when your emotion is really intense, the first 10 seconds of this process feel terrible,
Mhm.
but that's it. And then they kind of chill out. And most emotions dissipate within 90 seconds,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Because when you think about what we do to resist the emotion or everything we do to run away from and numb the emotion, when if we just let our body process it, it goes away in 90 seconds. It's
Crazy.
nuts, right? So, this is the process we want to use when we're trying to get a skill, in allowing the fear to be there and in learning to let our body process through the fear. I like to do two things. I like to allow the fear to be there and practice, and then I like to go home and process it all the way through. And just the more often you do that, the better your body gets at it. And then if you can do this, practicing it with emotions when you're not in the thick of them. So, like, the more often you practice letting this run all the way through, then when you are there getting ready to salute and you're feeling uncertain, your body's like, I got this. Red swirlies, they're going to go through, they're going to be tight, they're going to go out, we're going to be done, let's go. Right? Like your body gets really used to it, and then it's really easy to process them in the moment.
Totally.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Start
So
practicing.
this is step 2, and I'm actually teaching you the different steps for something we call the thought model, which is a 4-step process. So the first step is that it's your thought that is creating the feeling, not the circumstance. So we have a circumstance. You're going to compete. You have a thought about the circumstance, which causes you to feel uncertain.
And I think the thought would be, what if I mess up?
Yes.
Going into that
Yeah.
uncertainty.
Yes. So we'll start working on those for sure. Moving forward on dealing with some of the thoughts, but the first step is just understanding our brain and how it's working. So we have a thought. That thought leads us to feel a certain way, and then from that feeling we take action. And so what we want to do is we want to learn for this part how to process the motion that we don't want to take action from.
Yes.
So it's no longer driving. And then what we do is we move over and create a thought that will create the feeling that we do want to take action from. But it's really hard to create the feeling that we do want to take action from when our body's still full of all of the vibrating from the other emotion. So when we can process this emotion, kind of cleans us out. Can you feel how you're kind of like more like just kind of a blank slate now?
Yeah.
And so then now it's going to be really easy to move into motivated, determined something else that you want to move it from.
Totally. That makes so much sense because whenever I'm feeling uncertain before I compete or nervous for a skill, I try to brute force my way into flipping the emotion. I'm like, I got this. I'm confident. I'm strong. Personal affirmations like that, they do help, but it almost feels fake. Like forcing it
Yeah.
to be there when I don't really feel that way and I'm still having that experience of uncertainty or fear in my body. And now that I feel more at ease and blank slate, I think it would be so much easier to cultivate an authentic feeling of, I
Yes.
actually got this, and not trusting my
100%.
training and whatever that feeling that of confidence that I want to cultivate looks like. So I'm really excited for the next step of
Yes. And
how we can do
that's
that.
I always talk about it's like if you put diesel into your car and your car runs on regular gas. You're like, "Oh, shoot, that's the wrong fuel. I don't want to use diesel. I need to put." If you just put gas on top of it, it just mixes with the diesel and your car still doesn't run. You have to actually like drain the diesel out and then put the new fuel in for the car to really run efficiently. Now, that breaks down a little bit because you can, well, like we were talking about fear, you can allow the fear to be there and then move on anyways. But when you process it through completely, it makes it so much easier.
For sure. And it almost is that pushing it down. Like, no, I
Yes.
do not want to feel fearful of this. No, I do not want to feel nervous. I'm going to pretend that I totally got this. But do I?
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No. And it's feels very intense and
Yeah.
uptight for sure.
Yeah. Totally. All right. Looking forward to next week.
Yay, me too.
All right. See you then.
See you
Bye.
then.